Alright everybody, and welcome back to another video. We are going over the new update. We got a lot of information yesterday, which, you can get a sneak peek from the top there. So let's just get right into it. So we did get the Omega kit reveal yesterday, information on the cavalry, which I will just go over that information now before I forget, because I forgot to grab that tab. Okay, so all of the gear and other rewards in the track are exactly the same as they were the last time. We have still got the cap, but they have changed the thresholds for each tier. So the characters in the shard, which you can check in game, it's Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, OG Omega, Fennec, Saw, Captain Rex, and Boba Fett. And then for quests, we have been told that there are some older characters, which involve Sarge, Boba, Captain Rex, Cody, Echo, Fennec, Hunter, Saw, Tech, and Wrecker. So that's just given us a bit of an insight into what we can expect from this era. Well, from this. Oh, wait, no, yeah, it is this era. Or is it episode? It's one of the two. They confuse me. So they have also added Padawan Sabine shards to Darkside 6E, and they have replaced IG 100, so the Magna Guard, as people normally call it, and it's still available on Cantina 3C. They also have put General Syndulla into Chromium packs and shipments, so if you're going for Ahsoka, there's nothing stopping you now if you want to go down that route. And Django was added to light side 5C hard as an enemy, which is definitely interesting, given that there's nothing else in the notes that suggests why. But I'm guessing it's going to be something to do with the episode quests. So got they fixed 3 bugs with this update. So they resolved where a quest description didn't match the completion conditions. So if you did it before and you didn't get rewards, you should be able to see why now and the actual completion conditions. The Great Mother's portrait can now show up in chat, and the portraits for the enemies in Tier 1 Encounter 2 and Tier 2 Encounter 2 of the GL Ahsoka event have now been fixed. So now they're showing the right ones if you want to redo that event. So Hondo can dispel captive on Omega if he uses his special to put it on, and it will be fixed in the next update. They have also in the game, don't know if it's still like that, but her leader ability, it's not the right name. But that is all that's different. So we do also have some changes to the Naboo raid. If you were hating the RNG, good news. They're cutting down on the RNG, even though there's 3 months left. So we've got the command droid special. It now starts on cooldown, and its cooldown was 2, but now it is 3. He can no longer give himself a bonus turn with the chevron ability, as people like to call it, and there is now a status effect on the command droid that indicates the number of turns until it's able to use that. Just a few little quality of life changes, basically, but it makes our life easier for the raid. When these are going active, I'm not too sure. Probably the last update that happened, given the date. So before we move on to the Omega kit reveal, we do have our first look at the new units. Now I am going to apologize because of the saturation. I can't figure out what's going on in game. And I can't remember how to adjust it. But yep, we can clearly see the new members of the squad, which were also mentioned in the kit reveal. And we are finally getting Crosshair after all these years of asking since season 1 of Bad Batch or whenever they got added. We also got this beautiful clip, well, not clip, but image of Tantis. That's not Tantis. The island they were at in season 3. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But yep, the non-saturated image is what you saw in the thumbnail for this one. And we do also have the TK Trooper. I originally thought it was going to be, oh, this is the enemy fight in Tier 1 of the Omega event. It turned out that it was actually First Order. However, because of that event, we do have a lot more information on the kit, which I believe segues really nicely into, well, the kit reveal. So Omega is going to be, well, she is a support and a leader for the new Bad Batch squad they're adding to the game. And as you can see from the data mine, it's going to be their season 3 appearance. So you got the yellows, the oranges, and the teals on their armor. There's a captive and rescue mechanic, which, if you, it gets into it a bit later on in the kit. And they looked heavily in season 3 when designing this team. And because Omega became the focus of the show, they made her the leader, which separates the rest of the Bad Batch, which she will also work with, as you can see in the marquee. So this, I'm guessing, is giving us a sneak peek into what the other members of the team are going to be like. So I expect some big AoEs coming up. If not, it's going to be regarding to her special, which we will get into. So you can get her in the marquee that started today. So if you're watching this in the future, this was on the 14th of January. So she, as it says there, you can work with the old Bad Batch characters until the others are released. Discussed that. And yep, we've got confirmation there as well as in our data mine here that we've got a new Wrecker, Hunter, and we're finally getting Crosshair and Batcher. So how the capture and rescue mechanic is going to work is it's going to be similar to a savior. So with that, let's hop into a kit. Because from what I've seen in the marquee, it is a kit to be reckoned with. So the basic ability is going to be a Zeta on it, and you're going to deal special damage to your target enemy. If any Bad Batch allies are captive, the rescue objective is progressed by 5. We will get into that later. Otherwise, the healthiest Bad Batch ally without stealth will gain crit avoidance up. So on Special 1, there is another Zeta, and she is going to dispel all debuffs on Bad Batch allies, and your target ally recovers 100% protection and an additional 15% protection per Omega's relic amplifier, but this is reduced by 5% per debuff dispelled. For every percentage of protection recovery received over that 100 protection, they recover 1% health, and every time that 20% health recovery when they have 100% health, they reduce all their cooldowns by 1. So this kinda has a really nutty potential if you use it on turn 1, in my opinion. If the rest of the Bad Batch have abilities that start on cooldown. Otherwise, who knows how good this will be. Because I sure don't. Just keep in mind that It's only on the target ally. So with special 2, she's going to apply stealth basically to the whole team, but whoever is healthiest doesn't get stealth. So this is probably who you want to target with special 1 to keep them as healthy as possible. And if they already had stealth, they gain 10% turn meter plus 5% for each relic on Omega. So all of the Bad Batch allies will gain Retribution, Riposte, and Tenacity up, and the stealthed allies gain advantage, Foresight, and Speed up. So this is just a massive buff that's spread around, similar to GMY's third special. And it's showing how nutty it is. And this is without any of her uniques or leadership. So her unique, she gains 50 speed, and if she's in the leader slot, she has a savior. She applies captive to her allies if they don't have it, and if they have captive, they're immune to all damage, recovery, buffs and debuffs, and they lose 1 stack of captive whenever a Bad Batch ally will take a turn. So the rescue objective, which, if you remember, it was mentioned in the basic here, if it's not met, they get instantly defeated. If it is met, they lose captive, and they gain 100% health and protection. If all allies are captive, they immediately fail the rescue objective, and this effect persists through defeat. So when you're captive, it's very slightly different from Hondo's. So your speed is set to 0, you can't gain bonus attacks or gain bonus turn meter, and the rescue objective is simple. For Omega, I'm guessing this one's for exclusive to Omega, and it's literally gain 30 stacks of target practice. Now you might be wondering, how on earth do you get target practice? That's where her leadership's going to come into place. So while she's in the leader, and there is a GAC Omicron there, so all Bad Batch allies have 30% crit damage and 30% offense, and they all gain stealth until the end of the encounter, excluding the healthiest. So basically, as soon as you use its special 2, you're getting all those buffs and all that turn meter to 4 characters. So at the start of each character's turn, stealth allies recover half a percentage health and half a percentage protection per relic level on Omega. And given that she already recovers quite a fair bit of health and protection on the team with that special 1, I have a feeling that this is going to be a team that could stall you out. Of course, I've seen a bit of gameplay with the Marquee, and it is starting to look a bit that way, but it's only half the picture because we haven't got her ideal team. So do keep that in mind at the moment. And stealthed Bad Batch allies cannot be critically hit. So whenever a Bad Batch ally deals damage to the same enemy or enemies that were damaged in the previous Bad Batch ally's turn, all Bad Batch allies gain a stack of target practice. And this isn't a buff or debuff, so even if you're captured, you gain a stack. So every time they hit an enemy, you are getting a guaranteed 5 target practice. And, well, let's say that you do an AoE, which OG Bad Batch have a lot of. You are getting 1 stack of target practice on all enemies, on all allies for every enemy you hit. So to put that in perspective, if there's 5 enemies, you're getting 20 stacks. It's basically the rescue objective for Omega. That's just 1 hit. I feel like this could be patched, but just remember that rescue objective only happens once. And they gain us once they keep this stack until the end of the encounter, or if they damage a different enemy while the previous enemy is still active. Now, if they're in Grand Arena and there's no GLs and all allies are Bad Batch, so let's be honest, that phrasing there probably means they're safeguarding in case they do make a Bad Batch GL. Do I see it coming? Probably not anytime soon. But whenever an ally is damaged by expose, or by an enemy with any bonus protection, all enemies receive damage equal to 1% of their max health for each stack of target practice on all allies. This damage can't be evaded and can't defeat enemies. Stealthed allies will also be immune to damage over time and plague. Enemies they defeat cannot be revived, and they take a bonus turn when they're stunned or another ally falls below 100% health. What does this mean? It means that if you hit this new team with expose or bonus protection, they've started to get their target practice, which I'm gonna, if you forgive me real quick, I've just reread this part. They don't need to be captive to have it. So if you get exposed or an enemy deals bonus protection to you, all of the enemies on the field will receive a lot of max health damage, in theory. Because let's say you get 1 AoE off. Or you know what? Let's say you get all the AoEs off because you're using the old Bad Batch under Omega, like you probably will be this week in GAC if you decide to wail on her. That means that for every AoE you get off before they take a turn, if they attack you with expose or bonus protection, well, let's just say there's 4 AoEs on that team. Those 4 AoEs, well, not only hit every single enemy, that will also make it that you get a shit ton of target practice, to put it lightly. And just to put into actual numbers, so the minimum you could be dealing with this 1 hit is 100% max health damage. Which there's a lot of teams out there that they don't have massive amounts of max health. They don't have immunity to, if just ignore that bit, they don't have an immunity to max health damage. So you can have all of your enemies on the brink of death in one hit from them. And of course, that's assuming that this enemy doesn't do an AoE. If they do an AoE, you just need to hit them all once, and they die guaranteed, unless their protection to health ratio is through the roof. And I can guarantee you this: there is not going to be any normal toon that can be immune to all that damage, because that will be 500% max health damage. If I'm This is like if they do an AoE, mind you. And of course, this is assuming that Batcher or one of the others doesn't have some sort of summon that can also gain target practice. So I think that this team, massive potential, and I'm kind of considering farming them once they become farmable, just because of how insane this sounds. But with that, that is all the news that we've received. Aside from sneak bits here and there from Meathead on the events Discord, that is everything we've received. So if you enjoyed this, let me know down below. And if you have anything you guys want to see in particular, because I've got plans for beginner guides, and I'm also going to be looking into making a mid-game guide for just for you guys. So if you want to see that, like, subscribe, do all that stuff that other YouTubers tell you to do. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.